Picture this. A woman celebrates her birthday, her friends share beautiful photos, and within 30 minutes her dress is completely sold out worldwide. Meanwhile, the very media outlets that have spent years trying to tear her down are now scratching their heads, wondering why she's still smiling, still thriving, and still unstoppable. They're literally writing articles asking, how is she doing this? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the phenomenon that has left critics stunned and supporters inspired. This is the story of how Meghan Markle continues to rise above it all, and why even her harshest critics are now saying, be more Meghan. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic time from wherever you're watching this from. So, thank you so much for joining me, Adrian, on another episode of Meghan and Harry Tales. The other day was Meghan's birthday, and it was phenomenal, especially seeing the way people from all around the globe were celebrating it, and many media outlets from all around the globe made sure to report about this, so it was incredible. And yeah, I think we talked about most of the things that happened yesterday. And one thing I didn't mention is that the outfits that Meghan was seen with in some of the new pictures that her friends posted on Instagram, such as this one that she wore in the picture with Kelly Zen, who is one of her most amazing friends. So the dress that Meghan was wearing is actually called Wixton Chain Print Silk Blend Dress, and it is beautiful. Well, it's no secret that Meghan has like the best style, so this dress that Meghan was seen with in this picture is actually already sold out. Like, I made sure to check it before I even went to sleep, and it was sold out, and that was like only 30 minutes after Kelly had posted this picture. And as you can see here on their website, it reads sold out, and honestly I don't know when it's going to be restocked, but yeah, the dress looks gorgeous, and I hope they're going to restock it very soon. It only goes for $124. Not bad, right? So this again speaks of the Meghan effect, which is something we have seen over and over again. It's not even surprising that every single time she's seen with some outfit, it's going to sell out. As we reflect on Meghan's journey, I'm reminded of what Scripture tells us about enduring hardship with grace. Romans 5:3-4 says, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." This perfectly captures Meghan's journey of transformation through adversity. So seeing the way the world celebrates Meghan and the way people adore Meghan, even despite everything that has been done to her, the UK media are now questioning why this woman isn't failing. Like, why is it that she continues to rise? Why is it that she continues to smile and people still want to work with her despite their efforts in trying to bring her down? Like, they simply cannot understand how she still continues to do all of this. Like how she manages to still move on and just be happy and still thrive. Well, I'm saying this because there's this article on the Daily Mail written by Jeanne Moir, and, well, the title is going to be quite disgusting, but it's also a bit shocking. It's a mixture of reactions. So Jeanne Moir writes the headline saying, "I've watched Meghan since the beginning and have no problem calling out her monstrous behaviour." Well, the only person with a monstrous behaviour here is Jeanne Moir. And then continues, "But here is why every woman needs to follow her example." So you can see it's a mixture of reactions. In one part she's like criticising Meghan, and then in another part she is acknowledging why women should follow Meghan's example. So she cries about Meghan succeeding despite everything they have done to her. She also wonders how brands such as Netflix still want to work with Meghan and are even looking to renew their Netflix deal next year. And also, she's wondering how Meghan is still able to smile despite everything that they have done to her. I know they thought they would break this woman. They actually hoped that that would happen. But since it hasn't happened like 8 years down the line, they're now like, how is that possible? Maya Angelou once said, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." This wisdom resonates deeply with Meghan's journey and her ability to rise above criticism while maintaining her authenticity and purpose. Well, let me just read you a few excerpts from this article. So I'm going to be skipping a lot of parts. I'm just going to be reading like 2 or 3 paragraphs from these. So in one part she's like, she makes headlines whatever she does, and she is fascinating, complex character, whether she is writing messages on bananas to give to sex workers or talking to her bees in her Montecito garden. It's beautiful to be this connected. She tells them it is impossible to look away. Well, she's trying to throw a jab at Meghan, but it isn't working, is it? First of all, even if Meghan is talking to the bees, at least these people are still looking, right? Like their leftovers are literally standing on balconies and rooftops shouting at them. But people like Jan Moir aren't looking at them. Instead, they're looking at Meghan, who is talking to bees. Like, how ironical. Even in the past, Jan Moir has actually highlighted how the leftovers, for example, Kate, are so boring. In fact, she said that Kate is forever going to be overshadowed by Diana. Well, not only Diana, but also Meghan. And then Prince William is forever going to be overshadowed by his brother, Prince Harry. So, those two, that is the heir to the throne and his wife, are forever going to be overshadowed by the spare and his wife, who live like 5,000 miles away from the UK. Psalm 27:1 reminds us, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" This verse speaks to the kind of unshakable confidence and peace that comes from knowing your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. And then, in another part, Jan says, "Yet to her credit, she never lets anything get her down or halt her evolution, and I have a sneaking admiration for her remarkable perseverance and fortitude." Well, after all the abuse, she's now like, "I have a sneaking admiration for her remarkable perseverance and fortitude." Well, this only comes because Meghan didn't break, because she didn't allow herself to break, despite everything that was being thrown at her. And now her abusers are like, "We really admire her perseverance." She also added, "She's formed her own I Don't Care club, and many young women could do worse than follow her resolute example. Be More Meghan is a course that should be taught in the University of Life to the benefit of all." Well, I'm actually surprised that she said that. So now she is advocating for women to follow Meghan's example. Also, adding in short order, she received as she achieved everything she wanted, and then some. Her own TV show, a lifestyle brand, royal children, 2 of them, 1 of each, the A-list celebrity connections that had previously eluded her. Well, that is a lie. They didn't elude Meghan and a place among the elites of California, rather than a dull ribbon-cutting existence as a second-tier royal in Buckinghamshire. Yeah, of course, cutting ribbons is so boring. And yeah, at least she's admitting that the life Harry and Meghan are living is better off compared to being a member of that family while living in the UK. Nelson Mandela wisely said, "There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." Meghan embodies this truth by refusing to diminish herself despite the pressures and expectations placed upon her. And then, talking about the Netflix deal, she was like, "Meanwhile, the Duchess is currently negotiating a new multi-million-pound deal with Netflix to replace her previous £73 million package with the global streaming giant, promising to focus on the Archwell brand and her television series with Love Meghan." Well, is this actually true, or are they just making up things? One thing that I know for sure is that Netflix will not decline working with the Sussexes. They know the influence that they have, and they themselves have even stated that before. So, if Meghan is negotiating another deal with them, or if Netflix still want to work with the Sussexes, then good for them. It's going to benefit both the Sussexes and also Netflix. And then also adds, "Whatever you might think of the Duchess of Sussex, you have to admire the speed, grit and determination with which she has transformed herself. She is relentless, unstoppable, a driven soul who has taken her tiny scorched threads of official royal life and woven them into a rich tapestry of fiscal opportunities and lush profit margins. It might not last forever, but she sure is making hay while the sun shines." Well, trust me, Jan Moir, all of this is going to last forever. Everything that Meghan has created together with her amazing husband is going to last forever, and it's going to benefit their kids and future generations because they have literally created an empire in California. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. This powerful promise reflects the protection and vindication that comes to those who stand in their truth. And then Jan goes on to list a whole lot of people who have criticised Meghan. And I mean some very big names. I'm not going to be mentioning them because they are irrelevant here. But then Jan says, how does Meghan continue to carry on despite all of this being said about her? In fact, let me just quote her exact words. How does the Duchess of Sussex rise above the opprobrium? Meaning, how does she rise above the criticism? Well, it's because she has chosen to ignore all of that. She is living in her era of joy. And I think one thing Meghan has known is that despite what she does, she's still going to be criticised. So she has just decided to live her life. And as you can see now, they are wondering how she is doing it because the hate isn't getting to her anymore. And Jan even says, for years, Meghan has cherished a quote from the great US artist Georgia O'Keeffe. I have already settled it for myself. So flattery and criticism go down the same drain, and I'm quite free. Yeah, that is what Meghan lives by. And that's the reason why all of those things don't get to her. And then she finishes by saying, yet whether you think the Duchess of Sussex is an angel incarnate or the worst thing to happen to the royal family since Oliver Cromwell, you have to admire her drive, her ambition, and the smarts that have taken her from the fringes of celebrity to sanctimonious philanthropist who means well, entrepreneur, joy seeker, deal maker, and purveyor of edible petals to the nation. Be more Meghan, you could do a lot worse. So, yeah, you can see that even though she tries to bring Meghan down by throwing some jabs at Meghan, it's so clear that they are really in shock. They can't understand how she's able to rise above everything they have done to her. And they're now like, maybe we should embrace Meghan. Maybe we should be more like Meghan because this woman is strong. She is very strong and she knows how to persevere. Well, keep on going, Meghan. You can see that your haters are literally watching you, and they can't believe that you have risen above all of their hate, all of their abuse, and every bad thing they have said about you. As we conclude today's episode of Meghan and Harry Tales, let's remember that true strength comes from within, from faith, and from staying true to our values regardless of external pressures. Meghan's journey reminds us all that we have the power to write our own stories and define our own worth. So yeah, I think I've shared enough with you for now, so kindly let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more episodes of Meghan and Harry Tales. Then I'll see you on the next one. Bye.